Dan McLaughlin is a Navy veteran and a veteran of the public school, which was probably more dangerous. Could
Probably,
have been,
yes.
yeah. And an author from the beautiful city San Diego, California. And I learned just a while ago that he actually first met his wife in first grade. I think that's welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you letting me be on the set with you.
Yeah. Now this book, his newest book, God and Country Parents Guide, and as I was going through it, I was surprised. It wasn't what I thought it would be. And he is very, very well qualified to write about the public school system. And if people cannot homeschool their children or they cannot go to a public school, this could really help them, couldn't it, navigate through the public school system?
Yes, absolutely. That's why I wrote it, to bring, not only bring God's Word to the equation, and that's the way we taught our kids years and years ago, until in the 60s probably, but to empower our parents to be the absolute positive #1 role model and teacher in their children's lives. So that's the reason behind the book.
Don't you think, though, that even maybe back when I was going to school, that it was kind of relegated to the public school system, when looking back, I see where God's idea is that the parent really is the #1 teacher?
That's the way it's supposed to be, but in society today, we're upside down. If you ask anyone if we're going in the right direction, every Christian, I would think, would say no, we're not, for a variety of reasons. But we're upside down. It used to be family, church, and then the rest of society, but it's school first, and TV and other things. And we're trying to get back to the family here in God's Word. So we're trying to reverse something here.
Now, when you were teaching in the public school, what was your overall experience?
Well, I loved the kids, and I loved teaching them, but it was actually the administration that ran me out of town, and God was the reason that I quit, because I have to do this. I have to go forth and spread God's Word in my own way. But it was the administration that really kind of tore the deal, because they had their own agenda and I have mine, and their agenda was not godly. So.
Yeah, do you feel that public education, and we're painting a broad brush because there's some wonderful Christian teachers in there who I feel are missionaries, basically, but there's an overall hostility to the things of God in public education. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, and like I said before, we were taught with God as the major topic for all things we did, but that went away some time ago, and now we're filling that void. When you take God out of the equation, you take the righteousness and the goodness of God, it's filled with something else, and it's interpreted by the individual administrator, teacher, and curriculum writer. So we're going to have to do battle against that.
Also, when you think of the chaos in some schools, again, this is the broad brush, there are some fine schools that are orderly. But there is chaos. I mean, we've had kids murdered in our schools, and that's not totally unheard of these days. How can there be any learning?
Well, it all starts with the family. If you look at all these situations, all the successful students, all the successful schools, they have that proper parent involvement at home, a godly parent involvement, where they're in charge, they make the rules, and they make sure things are done. But in these schools that you're talking about, where the dropout rate is 50 or 60%, and there's violence within the school, you'll find exactly the opposite. There's nobody setting the tone at home for these young people to have a chance. So now, without God in their life, or without someone that is teaching them the right way, it's filled with society, it's filled with the street, it's filled with television, it's filled with music. And we have to turn away from this. We have to go back, and this is one of my parts of my agenda with this book. We have to turn it back. God should be paramount in our lives, and we should start with God and go from there. But these poor folks are not starting out on a good foundation. They're starting out with society as their teacher. And
fear of the Lord is beginning of knowledge.
Yes.
And learning.
Yes.
Absolutely. Let's see, I wrote down something. I don't have statistics here, but I heard you say on another interview that kids drop out of school mentally in middle school and drop out physically in high school.
Yes.
And it's pretty serious proportions right now, isn't
Absolutely. Well, the point I was making was first the parents drop out. When they start seeing things they have not seen in 20 years, like dividing fractions or participles or things like that, they start to drop out as the main teacher at home. So now the kids get this idea that, well, they don't have to be successful, they don't have to do their work. So mentally in middle school, when all these changes take place within them, they drop out mentally, and they're so far behind by the time they reach high school, they just drop out because they're so far behind, they just don't see the need.
I want to get the website up. I'm talking to Dan McLaughlin, and this book is hot off the press, and it will be featured in a lot of homeschool conferences, which is huge nowadays. God and Country Parents Guide, and helping to help the parents help their children. So we've got the website up. You can get the book from the website, and we'll leave it up for the rest of the program. I urge you, you might have grandchildren, you could buy this for their parents, because I don't know anything much more important in life, of course, than salvation, but helping your children be educated and succeed. What's greater than that?
Well, there's salvation, security, and success. So, and that's all God.
3 S's,
the
yeah.
foundation of God is right there. But what I do with my introducing this book, and we're going to do this for some time, is the person has an opportunity to buy one and get one free. And the reason I do that is to share God's word with those folks that don't get enough of it, or for grandparents to buy one for themselves and give one to one of their children.
Is that on the website?
Yes, it is.
Okay, very good. There are more, well, I think this is an old statistic, far more than 1 million children being raised by grandparents. And even if there's a parent there, sometimes they're busy, they're uninvolved, but that grandparent can help with the homework and all. Now, you've got in here language arts, math, addition, all forms of math, history, and is this meant to aid the parent as they aid the child?
It's for both. It's to educate the young parents out there that if you look at our economic situation, it's all based on not getting the information we need as children. So children grow up to be adults, they have their own children, they don't know how to balance a checkbook, they don't understand the interest rates on credit cards when they run